I'm glad I lied about COVID to get out of the bachelorette party I helped to plan. Well, the title pretty much says it all. I lied about having COVID to get out of what I knew would be a train wreck of a bachelorette party. I'm not asking for judgment on whether or not I was an a-hole for lying because, quite frankly, I know I was. I just wanted to get it off my chest. Let's rewind a bit. My friend Willow, 31F, got married earlier this year. She and I have an extensive history. While I adore this woman, she can be chaos incarnate. Picture the most whimsy free-spirited person and pair that with the classic manic pixie dream girl trope, and that's Willow. Some of her highlights are running away to join the circus for 3 years when she was 17, hijacking my graduation party, and turning it into a spiritual retreat where we walked across hot coals and howled at the moon. Then she and her mom tried to get us to pay $150 each for the services even though we quite literally did not ask for it. She joined a cult for a year and a half when she was 21. I had to physically drag her away, and then she mistakenly thought that a casual hookup was her boyfriend and made a copy of his key to clean his apartment when he was at work. I had to explain the situation to her when she was crying to me about him throwing her out and calling the cops on her. Those are just some of the highlights. I have so many zany stories about this woman, and it usually goes Willow misinterprets a situation, I come in and clear it up. Rinse, repeat. Eventually, I, 32F, came to a point in my life where I just didn't want to be in chaos anymore. I found an incredible partner, got married, started a career, and fell into a very safe, very mundane routine. I realized quickly that Willow only called when she needed rescuing, and it clicked that rescuing her enabled her, so decided to give her different tools. Together, we found a killer therapist who listened and respected her, and suddenly those frantic phone calls disappeared altogether. But then she got engaged, and that's when chaos came back into both of our lives. She asked me and one of her former cult members, Beam, 38F, to be joint maids of honor to help her plan the wedding and bachelorette together. Willow has never been a bridesmaid and has very limited experience with weddings, so I figured I could support her with a lot of the wedding planning and have Beam help plan the bach. That was a mistake. Beam tried to take over everything and Willow's wedding started becoming the Beam show. Beam took over how everyone should dress, location, and suggested the ceremony be as short as possible so that the performers could have the stage and do their art. Beam also insisted on having a separate space for an orgy afterwards, and that's when I bowed out. For whatever reason, Willow started signing off on all of Beam's ideas and wouldn't stand up for herself. And the more details that came out about how the bach was being planned, the more I realized for my safety and the safety of my marriage, I just couldn't partake. I tried bringing my concerns to Willow who wouldn't listen to me, and I tried reasoning to Beam who basically called me a prude and finally just paid for my share of the bach and told Willow days before the bach I couldn't go because of COVID. Willow called me on the trip crying. Beam ended up stealing a bunch of things from the girls, snuck into the other rooms at night trying to sleep with the other women, refused to pay for her share or participate on anything they were doing, tried getting the others to join her cult, and tried to drug everyone without their consent. Thankfully, one of the bridesmaids listened to me when I warned them about Beam and said she would likely try to drug them, so no one was hurt. It got to the point where Willow had to call the cops to remove Beam from the Airbnb and kick her out of the wedding. Unfortunately, since Beam had planned so much of the wedding, that ended poorly as well. Nothing was actually planned. Beam rented a cheap Airbnb for the wedding and charged Willow a fortune for it, and didn't do any of the things she said she would. No invites were sent, so Willow invited everyone of Facebook a few weeks before, and not even Willow's dad knew about the wedding. The day of the wedding he was 45 minutes late, and I literally had to call him and convince him to cancel his plans to attend his daughter's wedding. No one had a cake, so the bridesmaids and I had to go to the nearest grocery store to get a sheet cake. There were no chairs or booze even though she had advertised an open bar. Everything totally fell apart. But she had a great time. The performers still got to perform, the DJ was good, and the food was really good. Willow only remembers the good, which is why I adore her. Where I see chaos, she sees fun memories and good times with friends. I don't regret lying about COVID or bowing out of planning. It was what was right for me, but I do regret thinking so negatively about the situation and letting it stress me out. At the end of the day, Willow is happy, and that's what matters.